I just want to go over the pre-market game plan going into tomorrow, and then I'll do a session recap of today. So as always, let's keep this quick, clean, and easy. Once again, right, beautiful analysis. Beautiful analysis. After this video, I will have my no trade zone video coming out, educational video. I've been getting asked a lot of questions on that, and I'll even hit on that really within this pre-market game plan, right? I'm going to emphasize and show why we avoid, the no trade zones, why we avoid channels, and when we finally get a break out of those channels, just how beautiful price action is, right? So let's get into it. Kind of a slow day, all around to an extent. Our analysis right off the pre-market game plan on everything pretty much played out, which is beautiful. So if you were able to catch those plays, perfect. We'll break it down here. So starting off with SPY, right? Beautiful. Coming into today, right? What was our game plan? Looking for these key levels to break out of a channel and hold. So let's go to this naked chart to get a better visual, right? What happens when we finally break out of a channel, right? We finally get that big breakout. Why do we get those big breakouts? Because we have a lot of built up liquidity, right? And why does price action become clean? Why does it become easier to trade? Why is it easier to enter those trades, right? Because price is finally moving, right? It has continuation. Something that I always say, no matter what system you trade, what strategy you trade, it's very important to know the strength and weaknesses to that strategy. Everything has a strength and a weakness, right? When it comes to the break and retest, one of the weaknesses is consolidations, channels, zones. Why? Because there's no continuation and follow through on your plays. That's how you get chopped around, right? So that being said, really beautiful day here on the SPY and the Qs. I've been saying for the past 2 weeks, right? I mean, these are really the two names to trade, right? Just we were waiting to get over the 669.20, right? We finally got that breakout. We were really waiting to get over the 667.35, right? The breakout was so strong because we had all this built up liquidity. We never got a retest, right? So that's something that I am eyeing, right? But look, proper break, good displacement, retest, continuation higher, right? How do you know a name is starting a trend when each dip is getting bought up aggressively, right? So stair step into the upside. I mean, this was a beautiful trending day. And what makes this, even better, we're doing this without any news catalyst, right? There's no news catalyst, right? So I've been saying we are not looking to short any of these names. We're not looking to short the market. This thing is still intact to the upside, and I do believe we're going to hit all-time highs, right? I mean, what a recovery. So coming into tomorrow, right, looking for a pullback long off the 669.20 or a pullback long off this 667.35, right? Ideally, this one is a really good shot. I like the confluence here. It's also a previous day low, and we broke this level and never got a retest, right? So I am mindful of that, right? That still needs a retest. Hopefully we get these pullback longs, right? Because they're just a better RR trades, right? Better RR trades besides a breakout over an all-time high and then continuation. As always, right, we can definitely look for the break and retest over the 673.10, but we don't always say when we're trading breakout and retest levels at all-time high levels, displacement, right? We don't want to be part of a fake out or reverse or a liquidity grab, right? So if we're playing this with no new levels to gravitate towards, we want a bigger breakout so we can have a profit target of that swing high to hold our trades and look for continuation, right? So coming into tomorrow on this 5, right, just looking for pullback long entries, right? So we are still valid to the upside, a lot of thin volume here. We do have a slight gap fill as well, right? So hopefully we get some pullback long entries, but we are just still bullish on the overall market in this name. Same thing. I mean, I've been saying the SPY and the Qs are pretty much identical, right? Big breakout, never got a retest, right? So looking for that, right? Look at this break, right? Good displacement, retest, stair step higher, right? Top of this, we get that pullback, stair step higher, right? So these things it's trending to the upside, right? The overall market is strong. We finally broke out of that channel. That's why we got some clean price action. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I ended up taking a scalp today on the Qs as well. Let's just go to a naked chart so we can get a better visual, right? This is exactly what we're looking for. I specified this in our pre-market game plan, right? A break, retest, continuation higher, right? Look how clean the price action is when we just sit on our hands, we wait, and we wait for these channels to break out, right? We wanted to see the top of this range turn into support. That's exactly what happened, right? So coming into tomorrow, right? That's the same thing I'm looking for, right? We still need a retest here, just like we do on SPY, right? A pullback long here is valid, and then of course, right, a break and retest over the 613.18. Since this will be, a new all-time high, which is crazy, but I love to see it. We're gonna wait for proper displacement, right? And then that retest, and then look to go long. I highly recommend watching today's live trading session because I go over, breaking basis, and you've heard me say this now, right? Weak breakout equals fake out. So when you wait for those proper displacements, right, that is the best entries, to enter trades on, right? You don't want a weak breakout because that's not showing me that buyers are in control, right? We want a big bullish breakout to the upside, then a retest. So covered a lot today in the live trading session. I highly recommend going and watch that. But overall market is bullish. We're just looking for pullback longs. Nothing to go over here on Tesla. We're not even touching this name until after Thursday, right? This has earnings on Wednesday after close, so really nothing to go over here. We're not touching it until after Thursday. AMD, right? The pre-market game plan, right, was a break and retest over the 240.10. And we ended up getting that. Now I was long gone by then. There's no way I'm sitting around till 9 a.m. The max I'll stay to is like maybe 8 o'clock, right? Market for me opens at 6:30. But nevertheless, right? Good displacement, right? Good breakout. Buyers are in control, right? Let's say your profit target was the high of day. That played out perfectly, right? If you're able to sit in these trades and let them play out and not be attached to your P&L, right? These trades will play out, right? Trust your levels. So coming into tomorrow, right? We are not looking to short this name. So what I would love to see, because today we didn't really get a big candle closure above this 240, I would love to see a candle form, right, above this tomorrow, right? Looking for this pullback long entry, looking for more continuation to the upside, right? This name is still to the upside, very bullish. We're not looking to short this name. If you go to last week, right? That's why if you take trades off these key levels, you can, really look to hold these. The trend is your friend, and they can turn into big swing trades, right? Last week, the only solid days was Friday, and it was on Apple and AMD, right? They both gave us that pullback long to our key levels that continued, right? So this, right, was the better entry, right? That was the better RR trade targeting all-time highs, and as you can see, that played out perfectly, right? So that's exactly what we're looking for tomorrow, right? Is a pullback long off this 240.10, or if we fall under, just another break and retest above it. I highly doubt we will, but if price does fall, you can look for a pullback long off this 227.30. NVIDIA, so still stuck in a range, right? Still stuck in a range, right? There's nothing going on here. I've been saying that for the longest, right? Still stuck in a range. I've always said, history likes to repeat itself, right? This was over in what? Right before, yeah, this was in August, right? right? Look at these candles in August. Look at this, actually, let me just mark this out. Look at this consolidation zone in August, right? What happens when we get back in this channel? Again, we consolidate. That's no surprise. History repeats itself, right? So we're just stuck in this channel, right? Now, if you watch my live trading session today, I break this down, and I'll make another video on that in the future just based on liquidity. I said I'm not a fan of this name if we breaks out because we already swept this liquidity during the pre-market, right? It's a difference when we have unmitigated liquidity versus mitigated liquidity on a big breakout out of a channel, right? So we knew to avoid this, and as you can see, right, this was really just a bull trap. If you would have taken that shot today, that was a valid trade, right? That was a valid trade. Let's just zoom out here. We're stuck in a channel. We finally got that breakout. Even here on the intraday, right, that looked like a solid break and retest, right? This wick means buyers did step up aggressively, right? If you would have taken that shot, it was a good shot. But nevertheless, we're still stuck in this channel. So what are we doing? The same thing we were doing all of last week, right? Break and retest over 184.50, right? Or shorts under 179.45, right? This is 5 days, 6 days now, right? Over a week, over a trading week, we are just stuck in this channel. So it can't sit here forever. The overall market is moving higher. SPY, the Qs, AMD to make it all-time highs. Apple just made new all-time highs. So, the two tech names, Tesla and Nvidia are the ones lagging behind, right? So we're just looking for this, right? We got the market in our favor, but sellers are in control. I've been saying, as long as we are under 184.50, we are bearish bias on this name, right? So if we can reclaim that and strong buyers can step in, show their hands, we get some momentum and a retest, this is a valid long entry, right? If not, and we're just sitting in this channel, we are hands off, right? There's nothing in here for us, right? Stay away from that. There's nothing in there for you, right? And then lastly, Apple, beautiful, man. This is, love to see it. Anyone knows, if you've been rocking with me for the past 2 to 3 weeks, I've been so bullish bias, on this name. You would have thought that I had every dollar to my name tied up in Apple. But, right, this thing, right, has just been stair-stepping to the upside, right? Does this look like a name that's bearish? Not at all, right? I've been saying, as long as we are above this 241.30, I am bullish bias on this name. As soon as we fall under this, right, you can see that this is a lower low, right? We would be breaking structure here because then we're falling under this swing low, right? As soon as we fall into that, sure, I'm bearish bias. But this name is to the upside. If you watched the pre-market video coming into today's session, let's go in the weekly. I just talked about this, all last week. I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt. The overall market was stuck in a channel all last week, so we're not gonna expect good price action. But it took all of last week, right, for Apple to get this 50% recovery after the sell-off. And then what did I say I love that the week ended on? This candle, right? This is a hammer stick candle on the weekly. What does that show me? Buyers stepped in very aggressively, right? And then on a Monday, we gap up and make new all-time highs. That's beautiful, right? That's what you want to see. Now, coming into tomorrow, right, because I did have a key level here to go long off of. If you watch that on the live trading session, you'll see that tomorrow, right, kind of same thing as AMD. I want to see a daily candle form above here, right? A pullback long, see that daily wick form on this 260.10 and just look for continuation higher, right? The trend's your friend. These are how you also look for potential swing trades. But obviously, we're bullish bias on this name. Don't be that trader that's trying to short the highs, right? Don't be the trader that's like, okay, we finally made all-time highs. Where can I look to go short and catch the reversal? Don't do that because you will lose more than you will win. I promise you that. So just looking for pullback longs, right? This is a gap fill as well. So even if we fall under this 260.10, right, we're just looking for a pullback long as well off this 253. Now, today, that was the trade that I really wanted, right? This was just a better RR trade, right? To enter down here and then target all-time highs, right? But we ended up gapping up. Momentum was very strong. We ended up getting that in the intraday. Now, what do I love about this, right? Also, why we avoid channels. This was a channel, right? 2 weeks ago, and before we had that sell-off, you can see we were just sitting in this channel forever, right? Now, what do I want to see, just like we did on the SPY and the Qs, turn the top of that channel into support and then get that continuation higher, right? This is a beautiful trade setting up, right? So if you caught these trades today, really solid day. I know it was a slow morning for some, not much going on, but right, be patient. Trend's your friend. The market finally got out of that channel. We saw some clean price action today on AMD, on Apple, right? Both made new all-time highs, broke outside of the range, right? This is beautiful, right? The top of this range turning to support. That's what we love to see. So we're just looking for pullback long entries, right? And as always, right, you can still look to trade the Qs and the SPY, right? I love these two names the most as of now, just because we're finally out of that channel, right? We can get some continuation higher. The trend is your friend. The price action's been clean. It's been decent. Yeah. So hope this helps, right? Easier week. We're only looking on a handful of names. We're not even looking at Tesla till the end of the week. And I hope this helps. Yeah. So as always, right, be patient, trust your levels, let your trades come to you. And the most important entry criteria, right? I cannot explain how important that is. The most important entry criteria is waiting for proper displacement, right? Always, always, always wait for displacement before the retest. And I promise you that will avoid, fake outs, liquidity grabs, and all that. Today, I covered that a lot in my live trading session, right? I was very patient on my entries, right? I didn't take a break in base. I waited for this proper break, right? Good displacement, that pullback, and I took my shot, right? The bigger the displacement, the deeper the pullback, the better.